believe this is the 14th day of the Dark Shadows experiment, which marks the second week of the project, and I'm tired, and I'm beginning to hit a stride, and so I'm very happy about that. I just recorded this video, and somehow it didn't record exactly, and I'm not quite sure why or how. So we're going to give this another shot. And normally I edit them. This one I'm not going to edit, and so if you want to get a cup of tea or a beer or something like that, go get one, come back, sit down, just pause this, because I'm going to keep going. Why am I doing this? It's a question I come back to a lot. With the first experiment, I could move around, I could do all sorts of things. With this one, as I've said, I have to concentrate on everything that goes on. Somebody's going to do something like this at some point, with all the biographies of fictional characters and all of that. This just seems inevitable, and I don't want to see it screwed up. And by screwed up, I simply mean I don't want to see it done by someone who's not going to tell the story I want to tell. And I think probably everyone feels that way. And so if you're still reading despite that, thank you. You're being incredibly generous, and I really appreciate it, because this is one person's spin on Dark Shadows. However, I'll sit in that chair over there, and sometimes the episodes that don't have a lot going on will just wash over me, and I have to find something of substance, and so I do, and so I work at it. And while there are a lot of dry episodes, sometimes there will be an incredible episode. Episodes where Julia finally confronts Barnabas about who he is. That's great. Barnabas is having some wonderful interactions with Willie, where Willie is becoming very assertive about being Barnabas's Jiminy Cricket, and Barnabas is listening, which is just fantastic. I took notes, so one of the things that I believe is that, you know, we have these core texts, and by those I mean that we have stories that we keep telling over and over again because they are important to us. They're ways of learning, they're ways of teaching that are more interesting than someone sitting down and talking at a camera. Hey, wait a minute. Anyway, Dark Shadows is certainly one of those, and many TV series that are popular for long periods of time are. However, Dark Shadows is different in that it's so tough to analyze. There's just so much of it. This is not an academic analysis. That may be next year or the year after. But right now, this is the beginnings. This is, you know, someone throwing themselves on the grenade, because it's been a long time. There are very detailed episode guides out there, and there are some good essays in them. If you have not read the 1840 Concordance, get thee to eBay and buy it and read it. There are some essays, especially in the back. Speaking of the back, I'm going to straighten that. That I think are just dynamite. They analyze a lot of the cause and effect that goes on in Dark Shadows. They don't necessarily approach it from a literary angle, but that's okay. They're not designed to. With Star Trek, you're able to approach it, and you're able to approach it very episodically. I don't think DS9 gets enough love, which is too bad. There you would have to look at the arcs more, but with the others, it's easy to sort of take little sections out and analyze this or analyze that, and I'm not that interested in that with Dark Shadows, because it's almost impossible. Everything is so interlaced, and one thing stacks on top of the other. The Burke and David letters have been a lot of fun to write. Some have been tough. I think I wrote one the other day that was almost free association. I'm pretty convinced that Burke is David's father. He just acts like it, especially early on in the series with the Mitch Ryan interactions. And I'm having to hold on to those Mitch Ryan interactions where he's having David make cocktails and all this other stuff, because it's so rich. And it creates such a wonderful character in Burke. Charlton Heston wrote a book called To Be a Man, which are all sorts of letters to his grandson. And he knew that he was not going to be around for much longer, and I think that was an incredibly generous thing to do. I think Burke is a guy who knows that he has a limited amount of time, just given his lifestyle. Yeah, he's all gaga over Vicky, but Burke Devlin has secrets, and I think that Burke knows that he's got some limited time. So him reaching out to David in the future like this, I think, is wonderful. I've lost a lot of friends. I have to mortality. And I so wish that I had a series of letters like that from them. And there are a lot of places, not the violent places, but there are a lot of other places where this writing is very personal to me. You know, I may be creating a lie, which is the Dark Shadows lie, and any story is a lie, but it is my spin on this lie. And in the Burke letters, a lot of them, I'm trying to get across specific pieces of wisdom that other people have given me. I'm not going to be around forever. I hope to be around for at least the next 50 years. And in 50 years, if people want to look back and take a look at this, if I have friends, if I even just have one person who decides to look back, hopefully they can get something out of it. They can get to know me a little bit, but they can also get to know the people who influenced me. A lot of those people still aren't around. The rules of combat came from a guy named Bob Lee, who was William Girdler's producer, or one of William Girdler's producers. And if you don't know that name, look it up. William Girdler. Oh, boy, that's a filmmaker. So, and, okay, here's William Girdler connection. William Girdler, Louisville, Kentucky, made movies with Charlie Kissinger. Charlie Kissinger grew up pals with Mitch Ryan, who I believe is also from Louisville, Kentucky. Mitch Ryan, first Burke Devlin. There we go. Thank you very much, and good night. My next challenge is to figure out where Barnabas' state of mind is going to be. He now knows that he's in the present. He's going to continue to do horrible things for a while, so how do I justify that? Well, for one thing, he knows that he can get in the coffin at any point and sleep for 100 years and come on out. So as far as he's concerned, he's a short-timer. These people are very ephemeral compared to what he experiences. At the same so that leads someone to probably be a little cavalier. At the same time, Barnabas is on the cusp of becoming human. And that is the ultimate revenge to Angelique. And that is the ultimate justification for all of the horrible things that have gone on. If not justification, vindication. Yes, there's going to be some collateral damage, but Angelique already did so much collateral damage to people I care about, and to me, that this is the one way to beat her. So that, and by beat I mean defeat. So that may also be something on my mind. So speaking of things on my mind, Dark Shadows needs to be on my mind, as in watching it. So I'm going to get to it. If you are still watching at this point, thank you. I really mean it. Thank you. And if you want to tweet back, or Facebook back, or email back, use this as the following word: Hollandaise.